Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
How are you?
Great.
Excellent, excellent. Are we ready?
We are ready.
We're ready. We're ready to take notes and everything.
Got it ready.
Guys, last week when I taught a class, a few people came to me and they said, "Can you teach that again? Can you teach that class again?" So I said, "I'm going to teach that class a little bit of what I said, and I'm going to add some new stuff to it." So today, I'm going to go over closing and sales techniques. I'm going to go over a few things. First is closing and sales techniques. Everything that I have learned in this business, in my past business, that was in the car business, and everything I have learned in the banking business. I'm going to share it with you all, okay? I'm going to go over my personal story, the personal story that I give to my clients. One of the most important things in this business is to have a personal story. Without a personal story, you're not going to build credibility for yourself with your clients. I'm going to go over presentations on how I get into presentation of closing a policy, and I'm going to go over how I close policies without asking questions. A lot of us, when it gets to the closing part, we ask questions. We say, "So, are you ready to sign? Is that it?" Yeah. I'm going to teach you how to not do that, how to not mumble, how to not ask questions to close. And last but not least, I'm going to teach you how to overcome objections. One of the biggest things in this business, especially as new agents, you're going to hear a lot of objections until you get better as an insurance agent and you have a much more confidence to close. I'm going to teach you how to overcome objections by consequence questions, so that you can raise up the emotion, and after you raise up the emotion, you can close the deal. So, I want to start with giving you some rules of closing, okay? I numbered it down. How many numbers is it? So be ready to write, because it's 21 closing rules. So, number one is say it, sell it in terms of what the customer wants, needs, and understands, not in terms of what you got to offer. Okay. Maybe your client, if your client is buying a life insurance policy from you, okay, maybe your client is buying a life insurance policy because they want to build up a cash value for their children. They want to build up a cash value for their retirement years. Okay. You sell it based on the needs. Okay. Now, life insurance policy, if you go on the website of the company, it has 40 pages. It has 40 pages for you to learn about life insurance policies. Are you going to explain 40 pages about these policies to the clients? No. You're going to explain what they need and the disclosures so that you don't get into trouble as an insurance agent for your license. So, sell it based on what they need, what they want. If they say, "I want the life insurance policy based on the cash value for my retirement years," then you pinpoint, you sell the benefits on the cash value for the retirement years. You don't talk about kids benefiting for the cash value. You don't talk about the death benefit. You don't talk about the probate. You say it very quick, but then what you want to pinpoint on is the cash value. Okay? Ask them usually when I sit with my clients, especially when they're buying big policies, whether it's a life insurance, it's a long-term care, or so on and so forth, I ask them, tell me 3 things on why you need this policy. Okay? Tell me 3 things that you need a life insurance. Give me 3 reasons why this life insurance is going to save your life. And let them tell you. Let them close themselves, rather than for you to close them. Okay? When they say, "I want life insurance policy because it's probate-free, it's tax-free death benefit, and it's going to build cash value," guess what you're going to talk about when you start selling the benefits of the policy? You're going to talk about probate-free, cash value, and tax-free death benefit. Okay? Second rule is gather personal information. Guys, we do a warm-up for a reason. We don't do a warm-up because we just want to warm them up. No, we do a warm-up because, yes?
Say that one more time. You're speaking really fast.
Gather personal information.
Say that one more time.
Gather personal information. I'm going to go over it really fast because I got a lot of information, but if you guys have to stop me to ask me questions, please do. Gather personal information. When you do the warm-up, you're not doing a warm-up just to warm them up. Okay, you're doing a warm-up to gather personal information, to direct them into what policy you want to sell. Okay? You ask certain questions to understand where they're coming from. You ask certain questions to see if a long-term care is within their need, if a life insurance is within their need. Okay? And the questions that you want to ask is, how long you've been living over here? You want to know how long they've been living in that house. The reason why is because when the spouse dies, you want to make sure that you leave enough life insurance for your spouse so that they can pay off the house. Okay? You see what I'm saying? You direct them to what you want to. So you have to ask them the questions in the warm-up where not only it's a warm-up that they warm up to you, but then it's also a lot of tips for you to gather around when it comes to your presentations and closings. Number 3 is build relationship. People want to buy from friends and not salesmen. Okay? You cannot, if they say no to you, that's because you're selling. Okay? You need to build a relationship with them. Okay? You need to be a friend. Can you go to your best friend and say you want a life insurance and they say no to you? Very little chance. Very little chance. But what happens if you go to someone in front of her house to say, do you want to buy life insurance from me? A much higher chance that they would say no to you. Okay? So what you have to do is to build a relationship. I always tell my agents, I say a warm-up should be done at least 30 to 45 minutes. At least 30 minutes. Okay? If it's less than 30 minutes, you're probably not getting a sale in the house. Okay? If your warm-up goes to an hour, if it goes to 2 hours, if it goes to 3 hours, beautiful. You're writing a policy in that house. If you go to a client's house that they're talkers, let them talk. Let them close themselves. Okay? By the time they're done, after 3 hours by talking, they're closing themselves, I promise you. Okay? But if you want to jump right straight into selling, you become a salesman, not a friend. Okay? Number 5, establish common ground. Relationship. Yes.
It's okay, there is no
Build a
point.
relationship
Don't
that.
worry about it.
I'm sorry. Build relationship.
3 was
Oh,
down.
you know what? I
You said
skipped 4.
3 twice.
I know. I said there is no port. Don't worry about it.
Number 4, build a relationship that no salesman can compete with you. One of the most jobs in this nation is a salesman. Okay? The most jobs that there is in this nation is to be a salesman. Everywhere you go, they will hire you as a salesman. Okay? Which means you'll have a huge competition. You have a huge competition out there. Okay? You want to make sure that you build enough relationship where they will only stay with you. How many of you guys get on the phones to make calls? Okay. Okay, very well. So you all have experienced people answering the phone and they say, I got all I need.
Yeah.
Right? Why do you think they say that? Is it because they got all they need or because they have such a good relationship with their financial advisors or their insurance agents? Okay? They got all they need because their insurance agent is all they need. Okay? You ever called a client where they had a life insurance policy and they said, yeah, come to my house and review that policy for me? That's because they don't have a good relationship with their insurance agents. Okay? That's because the insurance agent has not built a good relationship and now he's about to compete with someone better than them. Okay? And you are going to be the one who's better than them. Okay? But on the other hand, you need to establish such a good relationship with your clients where they do not cancel policies on you. I went to a client's house yesterday, and these people had policies for 4 years. And the last time they actually sat down with their insurance agent to talk about their current life insurance was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, their insurance agent touched base with them to go over their policies. Guess what I did? I switched all the policies over to Bankers. And I gave them a discount. I gave them about $30,000 of higher benefits, and for the same price. But if the insurance agent was built a good amount of relationship, then price wouldn't have mattered for them. Okay? So, and even any company that you go to, all the other companies are going to beat your price. But the only way you can protect that, the only way you can prevent that is for you to build enough relationship with your clients. You want to call them when you write a policy for them. You want to call them the day after. Say, Mrs. Jones, I'm submitting your policy today. When your policy gets issued, you want to call them. You say, Mrs. Jones, congratulations, your policy has been issued. It's in my hands. When can we set it up so that I can come by? When you go to their house, go to their house with a gift. Buy a $10 gift. Buy a pastry. Buy something sweet from Ralph's, from somewhere. Okay? That builds a relationship. Okay? When you write the policy, you're gone. They're your clients. Call them a month after. Ask them how you're doing. During your warm-up, okay? Highlight those things that they say that are most important to them. If they say, yes, my son is going to college, call them a month after and say, how's your son doing with his college? How's he doing? Does he need any help? I'm in the insurance business. Does he need a job? Do you want me to help you with anything? Do you need anything? When I talk to my clients, I say, you can literally call me, okay, from anything. From calling me to say, Ali, I'm craving some Chinese food, bring me some Chinese food, to calling me and say, Ali, I got some questions about my life insurance, come to my house. And I tell them, I say, if you want to do business with a typical insurance agent, I'm definitely not the one and I'm not going to do a policy for you. But if you want me to be a part of your life, look at me as a friend or as your son, then you can definitely rely on me. That builds a relationship. That builds a credibility. That builds a relationship to the point where an insurance agent calls them and they say, I got all I need, because I'm all they need. So, number 5, establish common ground. Relationship means relating to people. Okay? Understand the meaning, the definition of a relationship. Relationship means relating to one another. Okay? You do not get into a relationship with someone that you're not related to. Is that right? Okay. Same thing with your clients. They will not buy an insurance from you. They will not do business with you if they don't feel related to you. During your warm-up, when you understand when they tell you something, let's say if they say I play golf, okay, and you like playing golf, tell them I love playing golf. Tell them, you know what? Let's go to golf next time. Okay? They say, you know what? I like cheesecake. I love cheesecake too. I'm gonna bring some cheesecake next time, and we're gonna have some cheesecake together with some coffee. I'm gonna bring some coffee too from Starbucks. Okay? You relate to them in everything they say. Okay? You do not relate to them, you do not sell. That's how easy it is. Number 6, gain confidence. As brand new agents, we tend to mumble a lot when we go to the client's house, especially when it comes to closing. You have done everything perfect, you have done all your warm-up perfect, and as soon as it comes to the closing, you stop mumbling. Okay, can I get your signature over here? Guys, people feed off from your confidence. If you don't have confidence, they will not buy from you. They won't buy from you. People feed off from your confidence. When you have confidence, people cannot look into your eyes and say no to you. Okay? Have a strong tone of voice. Your confidence is so much within your tone of voice. Do I look like I have confidence in my tone of voice right now? No? You're wrong, man. See, this is the kind of confidence that you need to have in your tone of voice. Okay? If I didn't have confidence standing up over here, none of you would have been taking notes. The same thing in the house. If you don't have confidence in your tone of voice, they're not going to buy from you. It's as easy as that. Guys, 38% of your impact that you put in the sales in the client's house is your tone of voice. 38% of your closing ratio comes from your tone of voice. 55% of your closing ratio comes from your body language, and 7% comes from the words that you use. You all think that you got to use big words to close policies. That's not it. That only has to do with 7% of the impact that you put in the house. 93% of the impact that you put in the client's house is your confidence, your body language, and your tone of voice. You have those 2, you have those 3, you're going to close 9 out of 10. How amazing is that? 9 out of 10 closing ratio. So, your tone of voice needs to be confident. Your tone of voice needs to be confident. Your body language, the way you want to position your body language is the same as them. Remember, relationship means when you're related, okay? Not only in the stories that you tell, but also your body language, okay? If this gentleman is sitting like this, I as an insurance agent have to sit like this, okay, for me to relate our mindsets together. And I'll teach you a way to understand if the client is in rapport with you. If you want to check if the client is in rapport with you, after having a 30-minute warm-up and sitting exactly like him, switch feet. Switch your feet. Change your position on you when you're sitting down. And if they change their position with you, that means you're good to close. You're closing. If they change their seat like you, okay, if you're sitting exactly like them for 30 minutes, and you're having a conversation and you're relating to them constantly, after 30 minutes you change your seat position, if they change with you, that means they're buying from you. You can go to your presentation. You can go to start closing. If they don't change their seat with you, that means they're not in rapport with you, and you still don't want to go to closing. You still want to change back to what they're sitting. Okay? Does that make sense, guys? Yes?
Yes.
All right.
You gotta try it.
Have fun, number 7. Have fun and be funny. Guys, be funny. If you make the customer laugh, you will make the customer to buy. If you do not make the customer to laugh, you will not make the customer to buy. You want to overcome objections? You can overcome objections way before they give you objections just by making them laugh. How amazing is that? Get 10 loud laughs at them, and you can close. You get 10 loud laughs from them, you're good to close. You don't get 10 loud laughs from them, you're still not closing. You will act like a salesperson when you go to your closing. Okay? But if you get laughs out of them, that's the biggest way to build a relationship with someone is for you to make him laugh. Okay? You ever saw somebody new and you went home and you said, wow, I really met this really, really cool person? Why do you say that? It's because they're funny. Okay? If they're not funny, they're mellow, they're whatever, you will never go home and say, I really met this really, really cool person. Would you? It's impossible.
I'd never say that anyway.
Well, that's because you're not
You're
funny.
really-
I'll make you funny.
You're a really cool person, man.
So, in order to leave the client's house, okay, and your client's going to another of their family members and say, I really met this really, really cool insurance agent, you should buy from them, okay, the only way you can make them to do that is for you to make them laugh. If you do not make them laugh, they will not do that, and they will not buy from you. You want a 9 out of 10 closing ratio, you've got to make them laugh. How many of you guys make your clients laugh when you go to their houses? 2? 2? Okay.
I'm sure I did.
So now it becomes a norm.
I'm sure you can make them squeal.
Never get caught selling.
The guy
That's
was
number 8.
listening to that list.
Never get caught selling. If you, as an insurance agent, sell, they will not buy from you. If at the end of your presentation, if at the end of your closing, they say no to you, that's because you just sold. A salesman is only a salesman when he doesn't act like a salesman. Okay? You can only become a salesman when you don't act like a salesman. A salesman is not the person that says, oh, look at this is amazing, you should buy it right now. That's not a salesman. That's a cheap car salesman. That's a cheap used car salesman. You ever went to those dealerships and they said, good morning? You ever went to those? Those are salesmen. You don't want to act like that. Okay? You want to act as giving them advice rather than for you to sell. You want to give them advices. You want to make them feel that you're giving them advice to buy a life insurance rather than for you to sell a life insurance. Okay? When you give them advice, they will buy from you. If you sell it to them, they won't buy from you. People like to buy, but they don't like to be sold. Okay? You can make them buy, but you can't sell it to them. Does that make sense, guys?
Can you say that again? About the,
People like to buy, they do not like to be sold. Number 9, it's the relationship, not the price. Okay? You build enough relationship with your clients, they will not care about the price. I love it. I love it when I get to the closing, when I close the policy, when I get them to sign, and they say, so how much was the check for? How much do I need to write it for? I love it when it gets there. I love it when they don't remember the price. That tells me that I have done such a great job that they didn't even look at the price. Okay? And I love it. I love it when they're writing a check to me and they say, so who do I make it out to? That tells me that I have built such a good relationship with them that I became their brand. I became the company. Not Bankers Life, not AARP, not New York Life Insurance, not blah, blah, blah. It was you who sold the policy, not the company. Okay? And a lot of times they say, oh, do I put a reminder on the bottom to Ali Navid? And I'm, no. If you do that, I can go shop with your checks. So, my point is, if they say, how much do I make it out to? That means that you sold based on a relationship, not based on price. Okay? Guys, price does not sell anything. Okay? Every company out there, if we can beat a price, then another company can beat our price as well. Okay? If I call a person and I say, I can beat your price, if you ever had those clients that you said, I can beat your price on a Medicare supplement and they hung up the phone on you, that's because they had enough relationship with their insurance agents. Okay? But if you call and say, I can beat the price for you, and they say, okay, come over, that's because they don't have a good relationship with their insurance agents. And you're the one who's about to build that good relationship with them. Number 10, review your quality and eliminate anything that isn't the best. You guys agree that there is a huge competition out there, right? I forgot how many. God, I wish I could have. I would have got the numbers for how many salesmen is in this nation. But the most jobs in this nation is sells jobs. Okay, which means you got a huge competition. It's not time for you to be 99%. It's time for you to be 100% for your clients. You become 99%. There's going to be 1%. There's going to be one person out there who's going to build that 100% closing ratio. It's who's going to build that 100% relationship with the clients. Okay, and they're going to be the best. Be the best. I learned this in school. When you shoot for a B, you will always end up with a C. But when you shoot for an A, you will always end up with an A. Why? Because you become a perfectionist. When I went to school. When I got 90% in my classes, I would be mad. I would be upset. I would be like, man, I want to do 100%. That's because you become a perfectionist when you become such a good person. Okay? So, what you need to do is for you to learn from your failures. Okay? When you fail in the house from building a relationship, when you fail in the house when someone else goes and buys a policy from someone else, okay? You'll learn from that failure. People don't learn from their success. They learn from their failures. The most successful people in this world have failed every single day after they became successful. Okay? As a new agent, learn how different people sell. When I was in the car business, all the salespeople in my dealership didn't want to teach me how to sell, because then I would have been a big competition for them. So what I did, I was a little bit of a smart aleck, and what I did was I started acting as a client, okay? I started acting as a customer, going to other dealerships, acting as if I want to buy a car, okay? And then I would see how the other salesman was selling a car to me, okay? And based on that, I would learn how salespeople sell cars. You see how I learned how to sell cars? I couldn't learn it from other salespeople because they wouldn't teach me in my dealership. So what I did was I acted as a customer, went to another dealership, and I acted as a customer, and they wanted to sell me a car. So that's how I learned. So, but in this business, thank God that kind of competition is not around. In this business, everybody wants to help. You know, our environment, our office is such an amazing environment, it's such an amazing office. Where if you come to anybody and you would ask them for help, they would help you. Okay? Learn how to sell. Don't be egotistic. This is not the business that you want to be egotistic and tell yourself that I'm the best at what I do. This is the kind of business that you want to know, that you want to learn from the best. So go to the best and ask them how they can teach you. Okay? If I was in the car business, I would have never stand up over here and teach you guys something like this, because you would have been my biggest competition. But in the insurance business, it's a different world. I'm very open to teach you things. So come to me, come to Armin, go to other managers, ask them how you can do better in this business. Ask them how you can sell better. Ask them how they sell in the client's house. Okay? Number 12 is study your attitude. Don't just think you have a good one. Okay? A lot of us always think that we got the best attitude. We don't need to review it. Okay? You need to review your attitude every single time you go to the client's house. Okay? Every single time you're out of the client's house, you need to review your attitude and to make sure that you're doing good. Guys, read motivational books. Read sales books. Go to YouTube and watch some sales videos. That's going to work on your attitude. Start eliminating negativity out of your mindset. I want to tell you guys one thing. November was the worst month of my life. But I came to this place, I came to this office every single day with a positive attitude. Every single day I came to this place with a positive attitude. Okay? Positive attitude. When you look at the big picture, small things, it's not even going to hurt you when it's on your way. Okay? You need to build up a positive attitude. You need to start eliminating negative words out of your mind. You want to be a good salesperson? The first thing you need to do, the first rule of success is to be positive. You cannot afford one negative word in your mind. Okay? I was in the deepest time of my life on November. Okay? But every day I came to work with a positive attitude. Every day I went out in the field. When I was in the client's house, I wasn't even thinking about the problems I had. I was managing my attitude. Okay? And when you manage your attitude, even if you're bottom of the barrel, you'll still make it. You will make it. Okay? Create a real difference between you and everybody else. Like I said, this is the time for you to be the best man out there. Okay? Because there's a huge competition between you and other people. You need to create a huge difference between you and other salespeople out there. You need to tell them that you're there because you want to be there to help them with their lives. You want to make sure that you're keeping in touch with them at every single point of their life. I always tell my clients, I say, listen, I want you to rely on me at every single point of your life. I want you to tell me what you need. If you want me to come to your house with a chocolate milk, if you want oranges for your kid, give me a call. Let me do that for you. Okay? It's time for you to differentiate from everybody else. Okay? What you need to do is not only to compare your sales skills with people, but also to contrast your sales skills with people. Understand what other people are doing wrong. Understand why people are not submitting so many applications. Understand why people don't have such a good closing ratio. And with that, you can differentiate yourself. Does that make sense, guys? Sell it to help, not sell it to make money. You have to sell it. You have to sell it so that they would understand that you're selling it because you want to help them, not because you're selling it because you want to make money. If they understand for 1 second, if they feel as if you're there for you to make money, they will not buy from you. Remember, the people that you're going to be dealing with are mostly over the age of 65 or mostly over the age of 50. They have been through a lot of sales. Okay, even if they're not salespeople, they have been through a lot of salespeople. They can understand it when you are there to make money. Okay, you need to sell it based on helping. And the way you do that is by doing a personal story, which I'm going to go over very quickly. Sell the benefits, not the features. You want to sell the benefits of a policy. Okay, and it all goes back to the three things that you have to ask them why they wanted life insurance. Give me 3 reasons why you wanted life insurance. I want it probate-free. I want it because it's tax-free. I want it because it builds cash value. You sell the benefits. You say, listen, I'm not going to say your policy is going to be probate-free. I say, listen, have you ever thought about how much of an issue it's going to be for your kids if your money is probate after you pass away? Okay. With this policy, okay, this policy is designed so that it's not probate-free, and the cash value and the death benefit is going to go to your beneficiary as soon as, God forbid, something happens. Okay. I sell the benefits as saying, you ever thought how much your money is going to be taxed if, God forbid, something happens to you? This kind of policy is designed so that it wouldn't have to be taxed. Your money will go to your beneficiaries tax-free. So I'm selling the benefits, right? I'm not selling the features. Features is it's going to be probate-free, it's going to be tax-free, it's going to be it's going to be of cash value. That's a feature. But benefit is when you create a concern for the client and you sell it based on giving a solution to that concern. You see what I'm saying? Do you want me to say that again? You create a concern for the client, you make them face the reality, and you sell the policy based on giving a solution to that concern. Number 16 is don't down your competition. You down your competition, you're going to down yourself. You talk bad about your competition, you're going to talk bad about yourself. Okay? The worst thing that you can do in the house is for you to say, this insurance company sucks. They're not going to buy from you, I promise you. Because when you down your competition, you're basically downing them, saying, why on earth did you buy from them? You see what I'm saying? When you down your competition, okay, you're telling them, you're so stupid from buying from them. That's what you're saying. Okay? And they will not buy from you. I had a customer in the car business that came one day, and he said, I want to buy a BMW. I said, why do you want to buy a BMW? Buy an Acura. This guy walked out of the dealership. He walked out of the dealership on me. Why? Because I just downed BMW. And that day I understood that I cannot down my competition because I'm telling them that you're stupid enough for buying a BMW. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. Use testimonials. That's number 17. Use testimonials. Go on the internet. Search for how people suffered raising up money for burial expenses. Okay? Search it around. And go on YouTube. Search around a video. And when you go to their houses, thank God that it's a world of technology. We all have smartphones. We can go on YouTube right really quick in the client's house and say, listen, I want you to watch this video. I don't want you to take me for my words. I want you to watch this video. And you show them the video. You want to sell the whole family on a policy? Find testimonials on the kids. Find what is the statistics that children under the age of 20 die, and how the parents are suffering to pay for the burial expenses. Show that to them. Say, listen, I was reading an article a couple of days ago and I found this. 21-year-old child passed away because he got into an accident. His parents went through selling their cars and going through loaning out all their credit cards to pay for the kids' burial expenses. You want to protect yourself from that, right? You want to make sure if God forbid something happens, you don't go through that. The reality is, it happens to people. And the reality is, you need to protect yourself from it. Okay? Use testimonials. That's the best way. People try to make people not take your words, but to take other people's words. But to take the reality out there. Okay? Overcome objections. Number 18. And when I say that, I mean understand the objection, listen to the prospect, and overcome the objection in terms of solution, not a sell. Listen to them when they're giving you an objection. When they're giving you an objection, don't just say, okay, it was good meeting you, thank you, I'll leave, bye. No, don't do that to yourself. Don't shoot yourself in the leg like that. Overcome the objection based on giving them solutions. How do you give them solutions? You create concerns. How do you create concerns? By building up consequence questions, which I'm going to go through right now. You sell based on solution. You overcome the objection based on solution, not to sell. You act like it. When they say, I'm not interested, you say, what? You're not interested? You're buying this policy. That's a salesman. When they say, I'm not interested, I ask them, I say, listen, this is not the first time I hear a no. And because I know what kind of value I bring to my client's house, I never take no for an answer. Give me a reason why you're not interested. They say, oh, I'm not interested because it's $200 a month. Let's just say. Because it's $200 a month. Then in that case, I know that I have to overcome the objection of $200 a month, right? So then I say, listen, 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing. You'd rather leave something in place for your kids than to leave nothing for your kids. How would you feel if your kids had to go through washing cars to pay for your burial expenses? That's a concern, right? I just created a concern. How would you feel if your daughter that works 10 hours a day has to put her job aside, okay, and do something else to pay for your burial expenses? How would you feel if your daughter had to sell her car and go to work, okay, waking up 4 hours in advance, standing in a bus station to go to work so that she can sell her car to pay for your burial expenses? That's a concern, right? I'm creating a concern. I'm creating what the reality will be. And then I say, listen, you don't want to put your family in that situation. Let's protect you right now. Let's protect you today so that you won't have to go through your family doesn't have to go through that situation. And I say, listen, in this case, I'm going to show you something that is 50% less so that it would fit in your budget, and I show something 50%, and I say which one of these works best for you. I'll get into that as well. Does it sound good so far, guys? You all pumped up?
Yeah.
Are you ready to go out and sell?
Yes.
No. I'm ready to help.
Who said no? Huh?
I'm ready to help. I'm not ready to
Beautiful,
sell.
beautiful. You got me there.
That's
When you
all.
ask a closing question, shut up. Okay? Not to shut up. I'm saying, when you ask a closing question, shut up. Now, what is the question? When you say, sir, I got 3 options for you. When you say, I got 3 options for you, $2,000, and I'm just saying this just to make my point, $10,000 and $20,000, and you say, which one of these options do you think would work best within your budgets and would benefit you within your necessities? You shut up. I have had times where I sat down on the client's kitchen table for 3 minutes. For 3 minutes. They were still debating in between 3. I did not say a word. The first person who says something will lose. If you as an insurance agent say which one of these 3 would work best for you, they pause for a minute, and after a minute you say, that's going to make you lose. That is not going to make you sell. If you say one word, you will lose. Okay? When you show 3 options and you have built a good relationship with the client, it's impossible for them to say nothing. 99% of the time, I have had only one time, and I don't want to swear, but I only had one time that somebody said no. Only one time. Out of in this 5 months that I've sold over 90 policies, I've only had one time that they said no. Every time I showed 3 options, I stayed quiet. After I showed 3 options, I stayed quiet. Even if it's 10 minutes, I'm looking right into their eyes waiting for them to choose something. And they would choose. They would go like, well, 2,000, but 10,000? Okay, I'll take this. And then you say, fantastic. Let me circle it around. You turn around the application and you say, how do you spell your name? You get into the application right away. After they choose, you do not say a word. You close. After they choose, you're writing the application. You don't say anything. If they say, I want $10,000, and you say, okay, so $10,000 is something that you want to do, you ask that question, you lose. Okay? After they say, I want the $10,000, fantastic, bring me your ID, let me fill out your information, without asking any question. I don't say, do you want to bring your ID? I don't say, do you want to bring your checkbook? I don't say, do you want to buy $10,000? Can I get your signature? Let me get your signature. Let me spell your name right here. How do you spell your name? What's your middle name? What's your middle initial? What's your last name? You see, guys? You sell, you close without asking questions. You ask questions, you will not sell. Find your success formula through numbers. That's number 20. As a new insurance agent, you're going to be coming into the business and not having high closing ratios. That's fine. Work your success formula through numbers. This business game, this business is such a numbers game. If you figure out the numbers in this business, you can succeed. When I started in the car business, I had a 30% closing ratio. My coworker, who had been in the business for 2-3 years, had a 50% closing ratio. Okay? In order for me to sell more than the guy who has 50% closing ratio, I had to see 20 people per week to sell 6 cars. Okay? But this guy was lazy. He would see 10 people a week, and he would sell 5 cars. Who sold more cars?
You did.
I did, because I worked around the numbers. Okay? If your closing ratio is 30%, if you go to the client's house, if you go to 10 clients' house and you close 3, and you know that your closing ratio is 3, it's 30%. Okay? With that being said, you need to set 20 appointments for the week, see 20 people. Now, the reality is you're not going to set 20 appointments and see 20 people. Okay? You double up your numbers to double up your closing ratio, to double up your sales. Okay? And along the way, when you become a better closer, okay, your closing ratio will go higher. And when you get into the habit of setting a lot more appointments, then with your closing ratio going higher, you're going to sell a lot more too. Does that sound good, guys? Okay. Number 21. Guys, I really want to pinpoint on this. Number 21 is do not blame the world because you're not succeeding. Blame yourself for it. Take accountability. Take full accountability. And say, you know what, that was my mistake. If today it rains, all of a sudden, if today it rains, it's sunny, it's a beautiful day, it's sunny, it's not raining, and all of a sudden it rains, okay? If I blame the entire world because it rained, next time that it happens, I'm not going to have an umbrella with myself. Next time that it happens, I'm going to blame the world for it again. But if I take full accountability and responsibility and say, you know what, it was my mistake that I didn't have an umbrella in my car, guess what? Next time I'm going to have an umbrella in my car. For me to make sure that when all of a sudden it rains, I have an umbrella in my car. You see what I'm saying? Take accountability. When you don't sell in the client's house, don't come to me and say they didn't want to buy it because they didn't have money. Don't go to your manager and say they didn't want to buy it because they had to think about it. No, they didn't have to think about it. That's because it was your fault, not their fault. Okay? The only way you can make your closing ratio higher is for you to take 100% accountability that, you know what, it was my fault that I didn't sell. What did I do wrong? And then you sit home, you start writing out. I said it over here. I said, study your attitude. When you go to the client's house and you don't succeed to sell, study your attitude. When you come back home, understand why you didn't sell. Don't blame it on the clients. If I was going to blame it on my clients that I wouldn't sell, okay, it's not as if I walked to this business and I started having the most amazing closing ratio. It wasn't like that. What did I do?
Practice.
I started blaming myself for it. You blame yourself for it. You take accountability, your closing ratio is going to go higher. But until you come to the office and you say, I didn't sell it because it was their fault, I didn't sell it because they didn't have checks with them, I didn't sell it because they didn't have account, I didn't sell it because they didn't have money, I didn't sell it because they wanted to think about it, I didn't sell it because they didn't turn 65, you will leave your life with having a low closing ratio. But if you take accountability, you will see how much your closing ratio is going to go higher. Does that sound good? Okay. Say 20. One thing I want to go through is, I'm going to go through it quickly, is my personal story. I want to tell you my personal story so that when you go to the client's house, you can, who made a personal story after I taught the class last week? Is it working better for you guys in the house?
I haven't used it yet. I haven't
Okay. Your personal story has to build trust, has to build credibility. If it doesn't have those two things, and your personal story, if your personal story does not have these two things, you're not selling. If you don't have a personal story, you're not selling. Okay? So, my personal story is, Mr. Alex, long time ago when I was around the age of 12, 13, and those of you who heard it last week, you know that I'm going to use the exact words that I used last time. Mr. Alex, long time ago when I was around the age of 12, 13 years old, my father passed away. And he was a very young man. He was only 51 years old, never smoked, never drank, always exercised in the morning. The only thing he had in his life where a lot of us can relate to is a lot of stress. And because of a lot of stress, one day he came home, he said, I'm going to go to sleep, and he never woke up from that sleep again. I never forget, the day before, he gave me a call and he said, Ali, I'm sorry if I wasn't the best father in the world for you. I remember when he was alive, the number one conversation that I used to have with my father was, Ali, I want you to be an independent person. I want you to become successful. I want you to be somebody so that the community can look up to you. Okay? And I grew up with that mentality. I taught it from my father, and I grew up with that mentality. He was a very affluent man. He had a bus manufacturing company. So all the buses that you would see in the city over here, back in my country, all the buses in the city would be from his bus manufacturing company. So when he passed away, he had a good amount of legacy left out for me, my older brother, and my oldest sister. A few years later, my brother came to me and he said, Ali, I can either give you this money that Dad has left out for you, and you can have your own life, or you can invest it with me into a business, and whatever we get, we can share. I never forget when I told my brother, buddy, take the money for yourself, and whatever you get, keep it for yourself as well. So I grew up, I went to college, I graduated from accounting degree. I started working in Bank of America as a branch manager. After 2 years of working in Bank of America, I said to myself, helping people with their checking accounts is fantastic. But why don't I help people way beyond just their checking accounts and help them with their lives? So I started working in the insurance business. And I started working as an insurance agent, worked my way up to a manager, and I have a fantastic career that I love. Every day I wake up because it drives me to help people. A lot of people think it was the opportunity that changed in my life that I became so successful in this business. But it was more the blessing that changed in my life. In the Bible it says, when you give, you get. And the amount of value that I give to my clients is tremendous. And how much I get blessings back in my life is what made me successful in this business. Okay? And I say, the first thing my clients do when I give them a call is they say, Ali, I'm keeping you in my prayers. And it makes me feel so good knowing that I brought such a good value to my client's house that they keep me in their prayers. And then I tell them, it feels so good that I can come to my client's house and change their lives, touch their hearts, put them in a better position in their life, give them a peace of mind. And I would ask for you to keep me in your prayers as well. But one thing I do want to tell you is whether I give you information about Medicare today, or I help you with a life insurance, or a long-term care, or a Medicare supplement, I want to tell you one thing. If you want to do business with a typical insurance agent with a typical insurance policy, I'm definitely not the one you want to do business with. But if you want to do business with somebody who's part of your life, who's going to be there to help you at every single point of your life, you can definitely rely on me. And I say, listen, you can literally call me from saying, Ali, I'm craving Chinese food, bring me some Chinese food, to calling me and say, Ali, I got some questions about my Medicare. Come to my house right now. Ali, I got some questions about that life insurance policy that you wrote for me. Come to my house right now, and I'm going to be one phone call away from you. See, the difference between me and other insurance agents or other companies is that you don't call a 1-800 number and do English for number one and dos para español. You call me. You call my cell phone number. I'm going to be there to help you out. I'm going to be there at every point of your life to help you out. And also with this policy, it's going to cover you up to age 121. Two things are going to be for free on your policy: accelerated death benefit and accidental death benefits. Also, it's going to be tax-free, probate-free. And plus, you're going to do business with a company that has been around for 136 years. With that being said, I'm going to ask you some health questions. And after I ask you the health questions, I'm going to go through 3 options, and I want you to pick the one that most fit in your budget and mostly is beneficial for you to take care of your necessities. Those of you who have been in my class last week, did that change? Did one word change from my last presentation that I gave you guys last week? It's the same, right? Nothing changed about it. Nothing changed about it. I said it fast because I want to go through some important stuff, but I can definitely go over it other times as well. So what you want to do in your personal story, one thing that I said in my personal story is when you give, you get. You want to show that. You want to do that in your personal story. You want to say that. I say I became an independent person. I want to tell them that I am successful in this business. I want to tell them that I'm a man of integrity. What I say is what I do. Tell them. Put this in your personal story. Tell them, listen, I'm a man of integrity. What I say is what I do. And when I tell you that I want to be here for the rest of your life to help you out with this, I'm saying it because I want to do it. Not because it's my job to do it. I feel responsible to do it because I want to be a part of your life. I don't want to just be an insurance agent for you. I tell them how I got into the insurance business. Did any of you guys pay attention to that? How I transited and why I came to the insurance business? The reason why you want to tell them you came to the insurance business because you wanted to help people with their lives, not because you wanted to make money. I didn't say I came from banking business to insurance business because I want to make money on you. I said I came from banking business to insurance business because I said to myself that I want to help people way beyond their checking accounts. I want to help people with their lives, touch their hearts, change their lives, put them in a better position before I walked into their houses. You see what I'm saying? Who in here had customer service background? Okay. What kind of background? Give me one volunteer. What kind of background did you guys have? One volunteer, other than customer service. Yes, sir.
National sales manager.
National sales manager. Okay. Sales manager for
Credit card processing.
credit card process. Fantastic. So the reason why I came into the insurance business is because I was a national sales manager in that company. But I said to myself, rather than helping people with their credit cards, I want to help them way beyond just their credit cards and help them with their lives. Change their lives, touch their hearts, put them in a better position than I've walked in before. Put them in a better peace of mind, rather than just give them a credit card. You know, giving credit cards to people is a great peace of mind. But rather, I want to give that peace of mind to their children. Knowing that if God forbid something happens to you, your children would be okay. Your children would be in a peace of mind. Does that sound good? Very good. You can use that in your personal story.
I think you should.
So, any other volunteer? You want to throw me a job background you have?
Psychology.
Psychology. Okay. You know, before I came to this business, I was a psychologist, and I help people a lot, giving them advices on what's best in their lives. Okay. But I thought to myself, what if I can help people way beyond just psychology? Rather than giving them advices, why don't I just help them with something in front of them, right on the table, give them a peace of mind, change their lives, touch their hearts, put them in a better position in their lives. You know, when I was a psychologist, it was fantastic when I gave advices to people. People always came to me and they said, thank you so much for helping me. Okay? But I thought to myself, psychology is more a hobby for me than a career. And I thought to myself, what if I can do that for people just by free? By not even charging them. When I sell a life insurance policy, you know what? I can give you psychology advices. I'm going to put that for free on your policy. How about that? With some Chinese food on it. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. So, You want to build credibility. You want to give them a reason why you came to the insurance business. Okay? Now, when you get to the closing part, you don't want to ask questions on closing. Okay? What you want to do is, I'm going to ask you some health questions. And after the health questions, I'm going to show you 3 options. And after the 3 options, I want you to pick the one that is most beneficial for you. I didn't ask him any question. I said, I want you to, I want you to, I want you to. Because I'm in control. Okay? You sell, you close policies. Right now, I'm teaching you how to close policies without asking questions.
Could you repeat that last thing you started with? I'm going to
ask you some health questions. That's a close. Right there. You don't ask them, do you want me to ask you some health questions? So that, do you want me to show you 3 options? So that, do you want me to write your beneficiary's name? No. I'm going to ask you some health questions. After that, I'm going to show you 3 options. And after the 3 options, I want you to pick the one that is most beneficial and mostly within your budgets. Why do you want to say mostly within your budget? 1, because you want to build the credibility that you're not there to bump them up on payments. 2, because you don't want to charge back on your accounts. So, when I get into a life insurance policy and after I ask them the health questions, I don't even show them 3 options. Before I show them 3 options, I say, what's your beneficiary's name? The reason why I do that is, how do I know that I have a sell in the house? I hear a lot of you saying, what if you don't sell in the house? No, what if you sell in the house by closing the deal without asking questions? You don't ask questions, you don't close. You don't ask questions, you will close. Okay? So, after I ask him the health questions, let's say a life insurance policy, I say, and the reason why I use example for life insurance policies is because most of us, especially as brand new agents, we focus on easy issue life insurance policies. So I say, what's the most primary beneficiary that you want to put on this policy? Before showing them any numbers, what's the most primary? And I'm not even looking at them. I'm not looking at them into their eyes. If I look at them into their eyes, I'm giving them the chance to give me an objection. If I say, Mr. Payam, what's the name of your beneficiary, and I look at him like that, I'm giving me a chance for him to give me an objection. But rather than that, I say, what's your primary beneficiary's name? And I wait. If they pause on me for 10 minutes, I'm pausing like this for 10 minutes until they gave me the beneficiary's name. I don't bring my head up. I bring my head up, I'm giving them a chance to give me objections. Okay? And then I say, listen, I can put a second person as a contingent. Contingent means if God forbid something happens to your primary beneficiary before you, then the money will go to your contingent. I get them involved with questions. You want to get them involved. When I was in the car business, when I went for a test drive with the customer, when they came back from a test drive, I would leave the keys in their hands. I would leave. They would be handing it to me, and I would say, no, just keep it. Just keep it in your hands right now. Why do I want to do that? Because I want them to feel the car. I want them to feel that they own the car by holding the keys in their hands. Same thing in the insurance. I want them to feel that they own the insurance policy by asking the beneficiary's name, by getting them involved in the beneficiary's questions. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So after I ask the questions, I show them the 3 options. I shut up, I wait for them to answer. Once they answer, I circle it around. I say, how do you spell your first name? And that's how I close. Did I ask any questions? I'm just as confident as I am right now when I'm in the client's house. If you mumble, you're not selling. If you're quiet, if your tone of voice is low, you will not sell. All of these have to be backed up with a lot of confidence. If it's not backed up with a lot of confidence, they will throw you objections. They will say no to you. If you tell yourself, you ask yourself, what if I don't sell? Okay? You will sell in the house if you do everything that I'm telling you, being backed up with a lot of confidence. How to overcome objections. As new insurance agents, you're going to get objections in the house. This is a huge part that you want to pay attention to. You want to write these down, okay? I learned this in Winner's Edge. After being in the business for 3 or 4 months, you go to a company's program that's called Winner's Edge, and it's called pivoting. You ask them 2 consequence questions, make them face the reality, and you ask them 2 positive questions, put them in a better position, giving them a solution, and you close. And I used to do that before Winner's Edge, and I'm like, and I didn't know that it was called pivoting. I used to do it, and I would say, wow, this works. This really works, but I don't know what I should call it. I shouldn't even tell anybody because it really works. I don't want a competition for myself. And I went to Winner's Edge, and I heard it, and I'm like, oh, so it was actually invented before I really thought about it. So here I am sharing it with you guys. Throw me an objection, guys. Throw me an objection. What kind of objections do you get in the house?
I want to think about it.
You want to think about it.
I got plenty of insurance.
Okay, let's overcome those 2 objections. You want to think about it. That's fantastic. You know, one thing that I always admire for my clients to do is to think about it. You never want to make a choice without thinking about it. I first acknowledge what they say. I acknowledge what they say, and I relate to them. And then I say, you want to think about it on why you would need this policy for you to, when you pass away. You want to think about, Miss Candace, do you want to think about whether you should rather put money aside for your children or not? Is that what you want to think about?
I'd like to discuss it with my children.
Sure. That's understandable. You know, one thing as a parent is, when I look at it as a son's standpoint, I would never, if my mother comes to me and my mother says, do you want me to buy life insurance for me to put aside for you? I would never tell my mother, yes, mother, buy life insurance so when you die, I can have money. From a son's standpoint, I would never say that to my mother. So when you want to discuss it with your son, the first thing that he's going to do is, no, mother, you shouldn't buy life insurance. But you as a wise mother, you as a wise parent, should know better than that you should leave something for your family. Miss Candace, what happens if, God forbid, you don't leave money for your children and all your money goes to probate and your children have to work to pay for their educational expenses? They have to work full-time, sweat all day at work, and after work they have to go to class at 7 o'clock till 10 o'clock to pay for their educational expenses. How would you feel about that because you didn't put money aside for them?
Disappointed in myself.
Sure, I would feel the same. How would you feel if your son told you, no, mother, you shouldn't buy a life insurance, and you really listened to your son, and God forbid, when you passed away, your son had to go through washing cars to pay for your burial expenses? Wouldn't you think that's against the human rights, Miss Candace? How would you feel if that happened to your son?
I wouldn't want them to have to go through that.
Sure. So in this case, you would agree that a life insurance is really for your loved ones, not for yourself, right? And how would you feel if you had to, if you could put a peace of mind for your family, not to go through working full time to pay for their educational expenses, nor to do car wash to pay for your burial expenses? You would feel good, right?
Yes.
Okay. So with that being said, Miss Candace, I can get a check for $50.46 a month. And if you could bring me a cup of water, I would appreciate it. And bring me your ID so I can fill out your application. Beautiful. That's exactly how I sell in the house. They throw me 20 objections, I will throw back 40 consequence questions. You ask them 2 consequence questions on each objection that they throw you. What was my consequence questions on this woman? Anybody wants to say it?
This kid is going to have to do car washes for one to pay for the burial expenses.
Okay. And the second one?
And
Stay late going to school. Stay late going to school.
Stay late, working full time, and then going to school to pay for the educational expenses. That was my 2 consequence questions. What did I do right now? What did I create?
you created
reality.
Huh?
Harsh reality.
Harsh reality. Don't you
And
think
an opportunity for solutions.
Sure. Don't you think the reality is Harsh? Sure. If they say, you know what, I'm not feeling, I don't feel good about talking about this, I don't feel comfortable, then I say, you know what, if I don't make you face the reality to put you in an uncomfortable position where I can give you a solution, then I wouldn't be doing justice to you. My job is to put people in uncomfortable positions where they can really decide what is the best for their loved ones. You see what I'm saying? People will tell you, I'm not feeling like I want to talk about this. So what do you say? You say, listen, my job is to make you face the reality, to understand why it is important for your loved ones to have this kind of policy. If I don't put you in an uncomfortable position and not make you face the reality, then I will leave this house not doing justice for you.
Okay.
So excuse me if I make you uncomfortable. But if I don't, then that really means that I didn't do what I did for I didn't do something right for you the same way that I did it for my own grandparents. You see what I'm saying? So,
One last one. I like to check all the options. I like to look over all the different places and see what's best for me.
fantastic. I'm glad that you want to check all the options. But one thing that I can tell you, Mr. Alex, is the biggest option that you're getting with this life insurance policy, the biggest option that you're getting with this long-term care policy, is not really the long-term care policy. Every insurance company that you go to, they're going to give you the same exact policy with the same exact benefits and features. But what's different is who you want to do business with. If you want to do business with a typical insurance agent, I would be more than glad if I don't write you a policy. But if you want to do business with somebody who's going to be a part of your life, who's going to be helping you out, who's going to be here to really help you with every point of your life, then I can definitely assure you that I'm going to be the one. If you really want to check the options, then what you got to do is to go to other insurance agents and say, do you want to be a part of my life to buy a to sell me a life insurance policy? Not a lot of people would volunteer to be a part of your life. They would volunteer to be part of their life and their family's life. But see, the reality is that the thing about me is that I work 24/7. I give all my time to my clients. And when my mother calls me on my cell phone when I'm at work, I say, Mom, this is the time for my clients. This is not the time for you to talk to me. Don't you think that you need that kind of attention from your insurance agents? What happens, okay, if you needed to do a claim for your policy and you had never known, you don't know where your insurance agent is because you know what? They're not part of your life. They're just insurance agents. What happens, Mr. Alex? You're Mr. Alex right now.
I understand. I don't think I've ever had service like that before.
Sure, sure. And you know what? I'm a man of integrity. What I say is what I do. I wish I could have put it on this contract that I'm going to be here at every point of your life. But the only way for me to show that to you is for you to do a policy with me. So what I can ask you is for a cup of water and $50.46 of a check, an avoided check. And also if you can bring me your ID so that I can fill out the information.
Thank you.
Sure.
I just wanted to hear the real close.
No problem. What else, guys? Throw me some objections. What questions do you have?